I just completed setting up my online workshop and it's now open for registration. I went into another room and found this little beautiful hand knit Irish sweater that got sadly very felted. I looked at it and thought, those sleeves are perfect for little pots. I'm going to see how I can make a little pinch pot from one of these felted sleeves. We'll see what happens. I think I'm going to cut off about 3 inches, give or take. The little cuff, I could use my method of just stitching it onto the base. I can stretch this quite a bit and get a lot of area that opens up a little. I'm going to pull out some embroidery thread and do lots of stitches all over. I could also plan grasses or something coming up from the base. I could work with lots of different themes and also add some embellishments. I also have rest of the sleeve that would certainly give me 2 more little pots. As the sleeve goes up, the opening gets bigger and bigger. There's options there, and the cable is almost disappeared, but I could still use that somehow. Last night I took this home and did lots of seed stitching on the surface. It didn't take very long, maybe a couple of hours. And I worked with different weights of my hand-dyed threads. And now it's a nice shape. What I found, because the sleeve was flat, it had more of an oval shape than what I really wanted. So I steamed it and then put it over a bottle and just let it dry in place. Now it has a nice circular bottom, and the next step is to attach that. When I thought about the bottom of the pot, I looked around at different fabrics and decided that I would stick with what I already had in the sweater. I cut off what was left of one full sleeve and then cut it open and flat. It would give me a supply of other bottoms or other ways of making some pots. The next step is to trace out and cut the circle that will be stitched onto the bottom of the pot. I've cut out the little bottom there. I just did some dots around the bottle, and now I'm ready to add it, stitch it onto the bottom of the pot. It's a little awkward to push against this, so I'm going to put this bottle back on and then just push it down so that it hits the little circle here. I did just this slip stitch around, and every once in a while I did a double stitch for some added security. And it's got a little bit of a bump on the bottom, but it's not going to topple over. And I could put a bit of weight in the bottom. I thought when I was in the midst of stitching the bottom on, I could have done something stitch-wise, decorative stitch, on the bottom, like you see like on the bottom of a teacup, or just maybe repeated these stitches again. I could add more at any point, any more of these stitches. That is the little pinch pot. I'll have to think of a name for it. It occurred to me that I could use this same idea with wool blankets from thrift stores that have felted, or any kind of felted product.